Taylor showed you another form that you used a lot for writing the equation. Do you remember what that one was? The point slope form. So there's really three different formulas. Point slope. Remember, in this, m is the slope. x1, y1 is just a point on the line. And x and y are variables, x, y. Slope-intercept form, that's our favorite, that's our goal. M is slope and b is the y-intercept. And we used that when we were graphing last week. And the final form is probably our least favorite, the least used one, standard form. Ax plus by equals c. It would probably be helpful if you jotted down the conditions for that as well. In standard form, a, b, and c have to be integers, so there's no fractions or decimals. They don't have any common factors, and the a has to be a positive number to be in true standard form. If I asked you to find the equation of the line through the point 3, -5 with a slope of -2, what formula do you guys usually use? Point slope. So remember, in this is like my x1 and my y1. Slope is my m. So in the point slope form, y minus y sub 1. So y minus -5. Minus a negative would become what? Positive. Equals m times x minus x sub 1, or x minus 3. If we distribute, we get a -2x plus 6. Subtract over the 5. We get y equals -2x plus 1. What if, instead, I gave you 2 points? What would we have to do? We need our slope between those 2 points. And we were doing that last week, so that should be fairly fresh. And if you need to, you can label them x1, y1, and x2, y2. If you don't need that, that's fine. So our slope formula from last week. Remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So -4 minus 2 over 2 minus -3. And I get a slope of -6. All right, now what? Plug into the point slope formula. Does it matter which of those 2 ordered pairs I use? Not a bit. You get the same answer either way. So let's say I just go with my first one and use the slope we just found. So y minus 2 equals -6/5 times x minus negative, so plus 3. Distribute. That's -6/5 x minus 18/5. If the fractions confuse you, use the calculator. Tomorrow, no graphing calculators on the quiz, just a reminder. We get y equals -6/5 x problems with those, writing our equation? Do we need more problems like those? Why don't? I'm gonna let you guys try. I had a couple people giving me a big so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get negative 2 over 4, which can reduce to negative 1/2. Then take one of your points, so I'll just use the first one. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, so x plus 2. So we get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. Looks like we're doing pretty well with that. I did ask for a graph here just as a refresher. We were doing it last week. How do we graph those? Okay, start at 3. Slope is negative 1/2, so down 1 over 2. All right. Do we feel okay now? I'm going to ask you a few questions from a graph. If I want to find the slope from my graph, what do I need? Okay, we're going to count rise over run. Pick some nice points so we can tell for sure. So it looks like it hits at 1, 1, and 0, 3. So then my slope, if I start here, I would rise 2, backwards 1, so my slope is negative 2. Okay, I asked for the intercepts. Can you tell me with 100% certainty where this thing hits the x-axis? Not really. Let's come back to that. What's my y-intercept? 3. If I asked for an ordered pair, what would it be? Good. Can you tell me the equation from this? Yeah, mx plus b, so y equals. Okay. So I couldn't tell for sure what my x-intercept was, but now that I have the equation, can we find it? How do you find an x-intercept? Yeah, if you're on the x-axis, what's true about your y value? 0. So could I plug in a 0 for my y? If I add over my 2x, my x-intercept turns out to be 3 halves. Now sometimes you can just look at a graph and tell. We couldn't here because it was between 2 points, but we confirmed it using the equation. It's probably what you would have guessed if I had told you to guess it the first time. But now we know we're right. Okay, any questions about picking out information from the graph? So let's talk a little bit about horizontal and vertical. Okay, a horizontal line. What's the equation of any horizontal line? The slope is 0. What's the equation look like? Y equals a number. If I just tell you the ordered pair, one ordered pair goes through, could you tell me what y equals? Yeah, if it goes through the point A, B, what's y equal to? B. Because if it's a horizontal line, every y value is the same on that. So we only needed 1 point to be able to write our equation. What's the equation of a vertical line look like? X equals. So if it goes through the point A, B, then the x is always equal to A. Okay. Making some connections. Which of those is a function? The y equals b. The horizontal line. Because would a vertical line pass the vertical line test? No. Can you tell me, what is the equation of the x-axis? So the x-axis is what kind of line? Horizontal. What's the equation of a horizontal line? Y equals, what's y equal to if you're on the x-axis? 0. The y-axis is what kind of line? That's your x equals 0. Last thing I want to talk about today, parallel and perpendicular. Do you remember anything about this? What does it mean for lines to be parallel? Never touch. The only way two lines would never meet is if what is true? Same slope. They have to have the exact same steepness so that they don't cross. Perpendicular lines. What does that mean? Make a 90-degree angle. What's true about their slopes? They're opposites. Opposite reciprocals. So you flip them and change the sign. All right, so that's my next slide. I want you to jot that down in case you have forgotten. Make sure you know the difference. So parallel. Did everybody get everything on this slide? So parallel is same slope, perpendicular, opposite reciprocals. Notice my directions. Find the standard form. What is standard form? Good. We can't just jump straight to standard form. So we'll have to write our equation like normal. I know if they're parallel, that's telling me what? Same slope. How would I find the slope of this line? Okay. 5y equals -2x plus 4. Divided by 5, so y is -2 x plus 4. All I need that line for is to know what my slope should be. So parallel tells me the same. Slope of this line is -2. And then I told you it goes through the point 3,5. So then we can put it into our equation. Y minus y1 equals m, -2 times x minus 3. We distribute the -2, add over the 5. So I get y equals -2 x plus 31/5. But that is not my final answer yet. I wanted standard form. How do I put that in standard form? Okay, has to be ax plus by, so I need to move over my 2/5 x. So if I add that over, okay, so ax plus by equals c. A has to be positive. Those are both a check mark, but it said we can't have any fractions. So what would I have to multiply by? 5. So if I take everything times 5, we get 2x plus 5y equals 31. And that would be our standard form. If I had said I wanted perpendicular, so same scenario that it's going through the point 3,5, but if I wanted the line perpendicular to it, this is the same line we did in part A. So in part A, we found the slope is -2/5. What slope would we use if we wanted perpendicular? Okay. we still have the 3, 5 for the point, so we flip it and change the sign. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. If this had to be in standard form, what would we do? Subtract over the 5 halves x. Then what would we have to multiply by? 2. But also in standard form, x has to be positive, so we could multiply by negative 2. So just make sure you're watching directions if I said standard form. Make sure you can get it to me. Alright. Any questions for me? So that is my stopping point. I'm actually going to talk a little bit longer than I was planning to. So I'm going to take off the last 2 questions for you. Straight off, I talked too long. There are several